Alex.
Hi. Hello.
How was school today?
Good.
Good. This is Alex's room. As you can see, she loves Frozen. There was a Frozen phase of about a year, and every day she would watch the movie 5 times, if not more. I think all of us ended up memorizing Let It Go without, us wanting to. Teacher Judy comes about twice a week, every Wednesday and Sunday. And as you can see, they have this, My Morning Routine by Alex. On school days, what to do. Then she will need to go to the bathroom to take a shower. Next, brushing. Next, I will get dressed. Next, I will eat breakfast. The end. And she also has visual cards that basically explain, visual cues on how to take a bath. What does a dog like to chew? And if you're a girl, how do you close your eyes and count from 1 to 5? So yeah, they do this about twice a week. Yep. My son Marco was diagnosed with pervasive developmental disorder when he turned 18 months. That's usually the age when the symptoms start to manifest. We were young and happy parents of a seemingly healthy boy. I will never forget that moment. We were inside our pediatrician's clinic and she placed these blocks in front of him. These blocks were nothing special. Little did we know that these ordinary blocks will change our lives forever. It was a test to see if he was progressing as he should at his age. Our doctor repeated the test, and I knew there was something amiss when she paused for a moment and looked at Marco very thoughtfully. She then turned to us and smiled. Her eyes and her smile were full of compassion. I remember that. She already knew what was wrong with her son before we even did. When Marco turned 2.5, he was fascinated with fans. He would stop every time he sees anything that resembles a fan or anything that produces a circular motion. And it didn't matter if we were crossing an intersection or if we were in a mall, he would just literally stop and stare at it. And lights. He was also fascinated with lights. And he would grab my hand and drag me to the switches and point. I guess that was his way of asking me to turn the switches on and off, on and off, on and off.
Watch out, you better not cry.
I think it was Christmas when we gave Marco this toy, which had clock-like wheels on it. As soon as you turn it on, the wheels start turning, which made Marco hyperventilate because he was so happy. And then the lights would change rhythmically with emotion. And one time when I came home from work, I saw him in his bedroom way past his bedtime. And he was just staring as the wheels would go around until it finally stopped because the batteries died. And it was just like that. He would continue playing with the thing as if no one's around, as if I wasn't there, as if we were invincible. I read somewhere that kids with PDD will be able to develop faster if they have siblings to mirror. So about a year later, I gave birth, and this time it was a girl, and we named her Alexandra.
Oh, you can't make up your mind when you want to cry or laugh. Oh, pick one. Pick one. What do you want to do?
Once you have a kid with special needs, I guess you couldn't help but check if the other child has the same symptoms. She was breezing through the stages of development and was walking by 10 months. I think her first word was tata. I was very, very relieved.
Alex, say dada.
And then, after 18 months, it happened. After Marco was diagnosed, and this was before I became pregnant with Alex, I didn't waste time. I started reading books on autism, attended every seminar that I could while I was starting a career, which was very tough. But I was able to find centers offering speech and occupational therapy and was able to secure a spot for Marco, which was very, very difficult during those years. I mean, the wait could stretch up to a year. A year and a half later, when Alex was old enough, I brought her with me to pick up Marco. And while we were waiting for Marco to finish his session, one of the teachers came out and saw her, and she said, "I know whose sister you are." And she proceeded to play with Alex and started asking her questions. I was watching this exchange very closely. She couldn't help but be a speech therapist. It was like placing a spanking new soccer ball in front of a striker, you know. And unconsciously, she was doing this battery of tests and questions without her knowing it. She stood up and she gave Alex the exact same look that our pediatrician gave Marco several years ago. The center was all the way on the 20th floor of a very tall building. But my heart has already sunk all the way to the ground floor. I think even way past it. We had to make sure And Dave and I started doing the things that we did for Marco, um, for Alex. And you name it, dev beds, assessments, tests. This time it's not PDV, it's autism spectrum disorder. Needless to say, we were devastated. I think me more than Dave. I just couldn't believe it. So all of a sudden, the words stopped forming and she started regressing. And I think along with it, our hope for some kind of normalcy in our lives. So I had to make a decision at that point. Should I continue pursuing my dream of owning my own restaurant, building a career, training and working in a professional kitchen, or be a present mother? I chose the latter.
Hi, good morning. I'm Erickson Perez. I'm the headmaster of One World School. Welcome. Autism, many kids, they have been diagnosed with autism. What's important to know about autism is it does not define the child. Okay, based on my experience, parents go through a lot of emotions. And when I name these emotions, it is not in any particular order.
Yeah.
Some parents go through denial. There's anger, there's grief. Some go through acceptance right away, others blame, and others don't want to even think about it. They kind of put it aside. So those are the main emotions that parents go through when they hear that when their kids are diagnosed with autism. And one of the more common emotions that parents go through is fear. There's fear of the unknown. Are they going to have the right school? Are they going to have teachers who will understand their kids? What will their futures be? So I think this fear is common in all the parents whose kids have been diagnosed with autism.
Hello, I'm Teacher Jet Manalo. I work with Kids First Early Childhood Intervention Foundation and Kids First Discovery Space. I have a partner in our school, and that's Teacher Vanny Balquedra. Alex has been with us in school from 2010 until about 2013. Autism spectrum disorder is a range of challenges that children have in social communication, and they have repetitive behavior, and they have social skills deficit. So it's a challenge that some children face. So it becomes a diagnosis when a medical specialist will give that diagnosis to a child. Well, I think when I had first met Alex, she had some words. She would do some communicating, but I think it was a bit delayed for her age. She had a difficulty playing with other children at that time, if I remember, and that's what I had prioritized, is that I wanted her to be with other children. So she first started in school in the early intervention class, where we had our speech pathologists, our special ed teachers, our occupational therapists work with her together with 5 other children in a class program. So yes, it was therapeutic to an extent, but I think that it was also a class program because she was working and playing with other kids in the class. So where she was in the spectrum, perhaps between mild and a moderate case of autism. Yeah. Well, that was some time ago. But I think yes. Well, Alex started to study here in 2010. I think I met Rhea first before I met Alex. I remember talking to her. She had shared what the doctor had, um, the information that the doctor had given her, um, and then I said that I wanted to meet Alex because I didn't want to have preconceived ideas of who Alex was until I had met with her and played with her first. So my impression at the time, I think, of when I had met Rhea was that she was scared. All right, she was scared, but trudging along, doing what she could and trying to find out more information. I think that's what I remember most about first meeting her. So, yeah.
Honestly, I think I was a mess. I don't think I had fully recovered yet from Marco's diagnosis. And there I was, just less than 2 years later, I found out that my daughter was more challenging. It was taking a toll on me, on our marriage, but there was no time to grieve, so we did what we had to do. So Dave, my husband, buried himself in his work so that we can afford all of his therapies, and I immediately looked for school for Alex. Our doctor shared that early intervention is key. There's just no way around it. Teacher Jet was amazing. Even Teacher Michelle Tambunting of Marcos First School, YCM, was equally incredible. Each persona and school, which are two different schools, were perfect for the right kid at the right time. I will always be forever grateful to Teacher Jet and Teacher Michelle.
I'm teacher Margot Ronquillo. I'm an applied behavior analysis therapist and a SPED teacher. ABA, or applied behavior analysis, is a study or the science of helping people with their language, with how they communicate, with their social skills. You know, it has helped them, from what I've observed and from how I've been working with children. They have definitely been able to communicate better to their parents, to their family members, to their peers, most especially.
On top of school, we did speech and occupational therapies, ABA sessions, dyads with other kids, and reading classes. I also placed them both on the gluten-free and casein-free diet, and I was searching for activities that would encourage mind and body coordination, so I enrolled Marco in karate, soccer, and golf. But looking for an activity for Alex, on the other hand, was a little challenging. I was afraid of her potentially hurting her coach or her teacher, because from this sweet, smiling girl, she became this very difficult toddler. I used to have bruises all over my body, on my arms, on my back, because when she gets frustrated, she would clamp her mouth on my shoulders, on my arms, on my back, or whatever's closest, and just bite away her frustration. I realized Alex will need more than the usual therapies, and I was also looking for ways to calm her down. And fate would have it, I was reading this newspaper one day, and there was this article about dance therapy. I called the number right away, and this woman answered. I asked her if she had any available slots for Alex, and she said no. You could almost hear the panic in her voice, and this person was clearly overwhelmed. It really takes this different kind of person with the capacity, the diligence, and out of this world patience to deal with kids with special needs. I love to dance. I think next to cooking, dance is my second love. It actually helps subsidize my college years, and it was my escape. When Marco was diagnosed, I took dance classes again, and I guess it was more for my sanity. More than anything else, it was for my sanity. I searched for a studio near our house, and I found one in BF Homes. Back then, it was called Stomp Studio, and they changed it later to Symmetry Dance Studio. But also because of dance, at least during my experience in college and after, I was exposed to the realities of life, how there's a side to humanity that's kind of sad. That people can be harsh, can be cruel, and can take advantage of you when you're too trusting. This realization that my daughter will be exposed to the side of humanity, I just couldn't bear that thought. And as a parent, you will do everything to make sure that your children are prepared for this. When the dance teacher said no, I thought, well, wait a minute. There's teacher Venus Bosses of Symmetry Dance Studio, and she really embodies this woman of strength, of passion, of patience, and she was also very strict. I approached her and asked her if she could give my daughter a chance, and thank God she did.
I thought, that could be interesting. Only, I was confident that I've been teaching for over 25 years, and I think I've seen all types of kids come to my class, and I go, I think I can handle that. Oh, but it was a surprise, just to put it subtly. But yeah, I was open to it. I don't think I was close to that idea. I said, yeah, let's try it. Although, at the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I don't have the proper training for a special needs girl, but I wanted to try it. And I go, let's just try it. Let's see how it would go.
The first 2 sessions were horrible. And I remember Teacher V saying, Rhea, I have no whatsoever experience working with kids with special needs, but I will try. And try she did. And that was the beginning of this beautiful collision between Alex in her own little world and the world of dance. I think as the classes progressed, Alexandra fell in love with dance as much as I did, if not more.
5, 6, and 7, 8. One more. 1, 2, and 3, and 4 for the drop. And 5, and 6, 7, repeat please.
Okay, first day, so she comes in for a trial class. Mom and dad is there, and it was horrible. I felt embarrassed also, only because Alex threw I don't know if it's a fit or a tantrum, but she was screaming, howling, and I was not expecting that. And I was pretty confident when I said to Mom, sure, let's try it. And lo and behold, on her first day, she wasn't cooperating. But at the end of that, I think 15, 20 minutes, I go, maybe it's a bad day. Let's try it again. So now she's not only in a private class, but she's in a group class with classmates. She's done several recitals, multiple dances in each recital. And you should have seen her in her first show. Again, I told Mom, oh, she's ready. She dances on stage. Well, supposedly she'll dance on stage, but she ended up just rolling on the floor and just staring. Mom had to go up on stage at the middle of the dance to pick her up. But now, just recently, she did two dances in a big annual recital. She was in a Cinderella dance and the marzipan for the Nutcracker. So miles away from how she started. She's memorized the Australian syllabus from pre-primary, primary, prep to level 1. And when I say memorize, she's even better than a lot of her classmates, only because you could tell that she's been through it a lot of times, so no problem. And the musicality, her musicality is awesome. She knows when to start, when to finish, and up to the last note. So that one, super big improvement.
Of course, there are moments of fear, especially during recital season, because there's always this lurking feeling that she might accidentally push one of the kids off the stage, or she might refuse to leave, which actually happened. The recital was inside a mall, and she was 6 at that time, and of course the people there thought it was cute. The number was finished, and she planted herself on the floor, and the stage people tried their very best to tell her to exit, and she wouldn't. So they had no choice but to call me. And so I did. I went up the stage, and as dignified as I could, I peeled her off and held back the tears. She's the biggest in her class, and her movements make her stand out already. But to expose that difference publicly in the spotlight for all of the parents and the other kids to see, it's heartbreaking, to say the least. I recently finished this book, which was highly recommended by a very good friend of mine. It's called The Compound Effect, and in its most basic explanation, it explains that success or rewards come from seemingly insignificant actions. That life is a result of your moment-to-moment choices. And that choice is at the center of all of your success and failures. That it is what you choose to do consistently that makes the biggest difference. So there were moments that I was asking myself, why go through all this pain? Why expose her to this public scrutiny, to this sneering judgment of people who have no idea what parents like me and children like mine go through on a daily basis? And then I realized she doesn't know that, at least not yet. And it just dawned on me how selfish that was, to not allow her to join these events because I was embarrassed or concerned how others would see her, that somehow her flaws are a reflection of who I am as a parent, as a person. I mean, what kind of a parent thinks that way? You never stop doing what's best for your children, even if it puts you outside of your comfort zone. At the end of the day, it's my responsibility to prepare my children for this world, which can be unkind sometimes. I just want Marco and Alex to be given a chance to live their lives to the fullest, even if they're not typically developing kids.
Well, I think that there is a lack of awareness among our community about what autism is. And because of that, not too many people are aware of how to behave, when they see a child who has autism. And then, because of that lack of awareness, what happens is we don't know what services to give. We don't know how how to relate to a child with autism because of this lack of awareness?
Okay, I think one of the main reasons is that there's lack of education. There's lots of misconceptions that are shared through media or just from families who experience it. I think the main reason, or one of the main reasons, we have not yet moved forward as a society is this idea of elitism. You know, when we talk about kids, our kids, we look for the best. We look for the best schools, the best grades, the best outcomes, best sports, best performance. So when your child is diagnosed with any kind of disability, all of a sudden that idea of the best starts to dissipate. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we're not ready, because we have not accepted different ideas of what best is. Okay, and then in terms of moving forward, definitely providing more education, whether it's media or just face-to-face conversations with different people you come across. And then learning how to identify what is best for that child. Is it grades? Maybe not. Maybe it's dance or art or other ways of showing their strengths or interests. So once we accept that there's different kinds of ways to be the best, I think we can start moving forward. And you know, as educators, we look for those ways that we can bring out the best in the kids.
Okay, what can be done to increase awareness? Well, it will, number one, depend on families who do have children with autism. I think that if they are more open to talking about, to talking about their children who have a condition, and knowing that they accept this condition, and when other people see that, then it's more of a shared information. And once information is shared, then it becomes something that is commonly known. You know, it's a known information. So it's important that you don't shy away from finding out more about children who have additional needs, and not just autism. It can be other forms of disabilities. And if we are a community who has empathy, who cares for one another, then being so different is not such a bad thing, right? So our role here in Kids First is to inform all our parents, and that includes parents who enroll their children who are typically developing, and including our parents who have children who have additional needs, to be advocates for all children, not just children who have special needs, but for all children. And which is why the parents who come to school, the parents who enroll their children in our school are very informed, I think, no? In terms of awareness of children who have different abilities. So I'm hoping that they can also share information with their friends and relatives. So in that way, more people have better awareness and better understanding of children with disabilities.
To date, it's our 10th year of speech therapies, occupational therapies, ABA, dyads, reading classes, of course, school, assessments, tests, seminars, doctors' talks, and there were years of soccer and karate, and now it's just golf and dance. I mean, those years were like a blur. Those long hours on the road from point A to point B, then C, D, E, F, all the way to Z. I didn't connect the dots until recently. Those years have compounded and are now showing results. I didn't see it then, but I'm seeing the effects now. But I knew I would have failed alone. So I thank God and the universe for my husband Dave, who's such a wonderful father, all the teachers, my friends who stuck with me during those insane years, teacher Erickson, who's such a pillar of hope for a lot of parents, teachers, Jet, Michelle, Deanne, Jerry, Margot, Julie. I mean, there's too many of them, I can't remember, but each and everyone left an indelible mark on our children's progress, and I am forever grateful. It truly takes an entire village to raise a child. This is my Yaya Lynn. She's been with the family for how many years? 20? 20 years. And my Yaya since I was 8. So she helps me every day with Alex, and I'd be lost without her.
I am Jessica Malta and I am an assistant teacher at Monroe School.
What's your most favorite part of the day?
I'm with the children. I'm with the children.
For a parent who initially comes to us after they've immediately seen a doctor, something like that, Rhea, well, I would first say thank you for coming to Kids First. That's one. And you know, we don't have a solution to all of their questions. We don't have an answer to all of their questions, but what we can do is to give them as much information as we can give them. So whatever information we have, we pass that on to parents who inquire in our school. So this is information about the services that they can get. And we don't limit ourselves to the services from Kids First. In fact, what we do is we also recommend the parents to go to other centers, to go to other schools, just so they get the best service that they can for their child. So for those who don't know what to do, well, of course, you know, the internet is already there, so I would suggest to look at information that is abound in the internet. There are times when we lend the parents some of our books about autism here in school. We lend it to them, and then when they're ready to give it back to us, then yes, you know, or sometimes it's forgotten, but I think information that comes from reliable sources on the internet is a good first step. Of course, I think better information is meeting other parents who have children with autism. I think that they would be the best source of information in terms of knowing how to work with their child at home, going through a myriad of services, you know, that, and as well as looking into the various forms of therapy, because as based on experience, not one therapy can work for all children. It will depend on the personality of the child. It will also depend on the involvement of parents.
Wow, that's a really good question. What would I tell them? I think they need to form a support network first. The mom or the dad cannot do it on their own. There's too much to do, too much to go through. So in order to be strong enough for the child, you have to be strong as a team. So the first step is forming a really good team, whether it's your spouse, a family member, even siblings of the child, plus the specialist. You have to have a good team who's going to work together. That's the best way to start.
This is a kind of statement that gives parents like me an inkling of hope. Just because they were born differently doesn't mean that they are reduced to nothing. But as parents, we need to pave the road for them. And no matter how demanding or long or rocky the road may be, we can't give up. Was it difficult in the beginning? Of course. It's difficult every day.
Ray, I wanted to add that I think that it's also that where Alex is now and how well she's doing is a result of how you and Dave just soldiered yourself, just became soldiers and pushed yourselves and pushed Alex to do as many activities, to accept that this is where Alex is at, and from there move forward and move forward fast. No, you didn't waste any time. You learned quickly. And were very proactive in making sure that Alex had the best services that she could get, the best schools that she could get, so that she could be this one beautiful person. No? So yes, thank you so much to you both that it was easy for us to work with you.
As the years progress, there are moments of clarity, of growth, of human nature's refusal to give up in the face of life's challenges. And as a mother, you give it all you've got and more. And just when you think that you're done, you realize that it's never over. It helps you develop this kind of patience that's bigger than yourself. It forces you to think of the bigger picture. Maybe if I keep doing what I'm doing now, in 10 years, I might have a meaningful conversation with my daughter. And who knows, maybe she'll become a prima ballerina.
Okay, one of my favorite Alex moments happens every day. When she comes to school, she always says, "Hi, Mr. Paris," with a big smile, and we high-five each other. And on her way home, same thing. Goodbye, Mr. Paris, with a high five. So it's a nice way to start the morning and a nice way to end the day. Then one of my favorite memories of Alex is during the Thanksgiving production last December. She had a minor part. She played one of the animals in the production. But you know what? She played that animal the best she could. Although her part was just a few seconds, she played it her best, and that's what we needed. So that's what I appreciate about Alex from that play.
Okay, my favorite Alex moment. I don't think I have one specific moment that with Alex. I do remember that Alex, when she was here in school with us, was such a hardworking kid. I think she's one of the most hardworking kids we have here in school at that time. We had here in school at that time. She would go through therapies, classes, play groups, and for a 2 or 3 year old, that's a lot of hard work. And yet she never complained. You'd never see her tantrum. Maybe at home, but not in school. Okay. She, what I do remember is that Alex was well loved by the kids in class. They always wanted to play with her, which is what brought Alex out, I think, in terms of her awareness of other kids also. They loved her in the sense that they wanted to help her. At the time, I remember that she had to eat gluten-free food, and yes. So just to show her that she could eat her food, her friends were also eating her food. Thanks to Mami Rhea, who brought in enough to share with the other kids. So I think that's why did that inspire you to be Mrs. Saldo? Yeah, I think so. So yes, so that was one. And I think that Alex was such a calm child, inside our classroom, that she was very receptive to all the strategies that we tried to bring, to help her with, to bring out the best that she could at the time that she was here in school. So I hope that in some way we were able to help her, and to shine.
Okay, this just happened recently because she suddenly learned how to send text messages. So I would get random messages, and at first they would be all like just random letters, but lately there has been more thought into her text messages. So of course I would reply. So at like last week, she texted me all of a sudden, I feel tired. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's suddenly relating her feelings to me, which for a lot of children in the autism spectrum is difficult. So I was like, oh my gosh, she's opening up to me.
Okay, I think I have two. One was when mom and dad and grandma visited. And it's been maybe a few months that Alex been taking. And so the last time that dad and mom saw her was when she was throwing a fit on her trial class. And then on the day that I've invited them to come over. And she did the Australian syllabus so well. We did a little bit more than the syllabus. And I was just so proud of her, of how the progress has been. So I knew that, you know, dad, mom, and grandma was just amazed of how far has she gone. That's one. Two, it was just recent, I think January, and I sent mommy the video because one private class, I wanted to review her dance, but I did not make the dance myself. It was another teacher. So I just said, I'll play the music and you do the steps. She nailed it. She knew the dance from the beginning to the ending up to the last pose. And can you imagine how difficult that could be when supposedly she's dancing with 14 other kids and she's alone, but she knows when to stop when it's not her turn and then when to stand up again because it's her turn. Again, it's the musicality, I think, that she's she's memorized it, so very happy with. Those are my two top favorite. There's so many, but those are my top two.
The most recent recital that we attended was definitely the most memorable. It was Alex's second number, and it was classical ballet, and she was the biggest in the group. And she was a second and a half delayed compared to the other girls, and you could see that her mind was trying to cope up with her body. She was trying to process the steps, but she was dancing her heart out. And I remember while I was taking the video and I was just watching her, in my head I was telling her how much I love her and how much I wanted to hug her, and that even if sometimes I don't understand her world, I wanted to tell her so much how badly I want to be part of it. And this is my way of doing that.
What are you feeling right now?
Right now, anxiety. I woke up this morning very, very nervous because it's been a while since I did a dance piece. So a lot of things were going through my mind. If I was gonna do it right, if my releve will be high enough, if my kicks will reach that height that I wanted, that I was practicing for. And also with Alex, it's very hard to dance with somebody. You know, just on its own, to dance with somebody, it's very difficult. But to dance with my daughter, I'm always like watching out for her. So there's a mixture of emotions. I'm also very happy. I love the idea of a mother and daughter dance, and the fact that she loves to dance and I love to dance.
So what made you choose this song?
I chose the song Fix You by Coldplay because it's a very heartbreakingly beautiful song. I don't mean to imply that Alex is broken. I think she's perfect the way she is. In fact, it feels the opposite sometimes, that I'm the one who's broken. I'm the one who needs fixing. And for some insane reason that I just cannot explain, my pain as a mother, for some reason, is the same source of my healing.
When you try your best but you don't succeed. When you get what you want but not what you need. When you feel so tired but you can't sleep. Stuck in rivers. And the tears come streaming down your face. When you lose something you can't replace. When you love someone but it goes to waste. Could it be worse? Lights will